Good morning, ultimate hustlers and digital empire builders. It is that time for the Cortez Hustle Show. And today we're talking talent management and development for businesses with Sheila Jean Austin, co-founder of Talent Building Associates. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we are living in unprecedented times. And if you are a small business owner, you're trying to keep the best talent, you're trying to acquire the best talent to grow your business or your brand, that's one of the number one strategies you should focus on. You should focus on customer experience and team building and team retention. And we're going to talk all about that today with our special guest, Sheila Jean Austin. So do me a favor, comment in the chat where you from, drop the name of your business and or your brand, and smash that share button, ladies and gentlemen. And let's kick it. Yo, what's up, ultimate hustlers, and welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show, the business podcast for the entrepreneur of the 21st century. And I'm your host, Cortez Hustle. Our goal is to give you a behind-the-scenes look at how the world's greatest hustlers build amazing brands, scale their businesses to incredible heights, sell more, make more, and create mass movements that impact the world. It doesn't matter if you're a seasoned vet or you're sitting on the sidelines with aspirations to one day unleash your inner hustle. This show will provide the insights into how pure grit, determination, and hard work has morphed into some of the most iconic brands and personalities and how they are moving the culture forward. You'll get a mix of solo shows featuring yours truly, as well as interviews and content from other hustlers that I either know personally or I've learned from or whose grind I've come to know and respect. And you'll also get exclusive recordings from our membership called Monetize My Life Academy, which you can check out at monetizemylifeacademy.com. That's a program where we go live every month with some of the best hustlers on the planet, sharing best practices on how we all can explode our brands with advanced branding and marketing tactics, business development strategies, and financial game planning necessary to build the empires we all desire. Again, that's at monetizemylifeacademy.com. If you like today's episode, chances are the hustlers you're connected to will like it as well. Share it with those in your network, and when you do, use hashtag Cortez Hustle so I can see you and hopefully give you a shout out and share you in my stories. So check out today's episode and make sure you subscribe to the feed on your favorite podcasting networks. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show. I am, of course, your host, Cortez Hustle, also known as the one and only financial health mentor, everybody's favorite fatherpreneur, coming to you live and direct from the Bob Crane Financial and Tax Planning Services Studios right here in St. Louis, Missouri. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you do not have a good tax planner in your life, we are coming down to the wire of this year. And the last thing you want to do, I know I don't, is give Uncle Sam a boatload of money, and a good tax planner can make sure that that does not happen. And they do it legally, ethically, and morally. And my man Bob is the man for the job. Then if you save a boatload of money in taxes and you want to learn how to grow that money, that's right, you're talking building generational wealth, then he can help you plan, plot, and strategize, get that money into the right investment vehicles so that you can grow that money as well. Click the link in the description and in the show notes if you want to connect with Bob. One thing I love about Bob, he gives you a ton of free financial literacy and information, tools and resources on the front end that you can do some of this stuff yourself. But then if you want to actually hire him, then all you got to do is book a call and you can connect with Bob and it's all good. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a special show for you today with a special guest. Miss Sheila Jean Austin is with us today. She's a co-founder of an organization or a company called Talent Building Associates. And ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know anything about what's going on in today's world, we are having a time as business owners keeping and maintaining the right talent. So we're going to talk about managing that talent, leadership development, and all of those things. So you guys want to keep it locked, right? But before we get to bring out Madam Sheila Jean, we're actually going to give you a couple of announcements real quick. Ladies and gentlemen, you got a couple more days left. If you need some digital marketing coaching in your life, you're trying to build your business, you're trying to grow your brand, Monetize My Life Academy, $1 trial for the month is ending right Sunday. So you can still get access to Monetize My Life Academy as we restructure and rebuild it. Lots more tools, resources, lots more training, lots more live training going into the academy. You want to lock in your spot now, because one of the benefits of getting in now is you lock in your spot lifetime price-wise. So it's $1 to start for the first 30 days. And then it's $47 per month if you like what you see. But chances are it's going to $97 a month relatively soon. So you want to go ahead and lock in your spot. Go to monetizemylifeacademy.com. Also, our parent company, Thornton Online Marketing, is offering some free and low-cost digital marketing services for Black-owned businesses in the St. Louis area. Brian Woods, what's going on, my friend? We're offering some free and low-cost digital marketing services to help Black-owned businesses explode their online presence just in time for the holidays. If you are not connected to our parent company, make sure you go over to thorntononlinemarketing.com and you can book a free call to see if you qualify for some of the free services that we're offering to Black-owned businesses to help you explode your online presence in time for the holidays. So without further ado, man, I'm super excited to be talking to this young lady. With everything that's going on in the world today, with COVID, with stimulus money floating around, with PPP money floating around, with the debate as it relates to minimum wage and people making more money on unemployment than they do working some of these jobs. One of the things that you absolutely have to wrap your mind around as a business owner is managing your talent, your leadership, your skill development programs. And this young lady is an expert at doing that. So without further ado, let me introduce to some of you guys and present to others, Miss Sheila Jean Austin. Good morning, sis. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning. I am well. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with us. I'm super excited to have you in the building. So before we get started into your story and your journey into founding this wonderful company and all the things that you do and all the things that you have accomplished in your life and in your career, I always start the show with a quote of the day. So today, my quote is from the great T.D. Jakes. As long as you keep your seeds on the shelf, you'll never have a harvest. Right? As long as you keep your seeds on the shelf, you'll never have a harvest. At some point, you gotta put them mugs in the ground. You gotta sow some seeds, man, if you want to harvest. So do you have a favorite quote, or do you want to give your thoughts and comments on that?
No, I actually, I like that. I do. I generally read the Forbes quotes of the day. I don't know if you ever see those. Forbes magazine online, they usually put out a new quote every day. I haven't seen the one for this morning, but that's very good. T.D. Jakes is amazing. He's one of my absolute favorite business people, pastors, speakers, just all around good guy. But I absolutely agree. So many of us, we receive, whether the seeds can be symbolic of money, time, resources, what have you. And so many of us want to hold on to the resources that we have. We've heard the saying, you have to spend money to make money, but we hear it and a lot of people still don't adhere to it. So they feel like the more they make, they want to keep, but they can't grow that money through investing or any more learned skills if you're just holding on to it. So you can use what you have to increase your resources. But as the quote, as he said, as long as you have them on the shelf, then you're going to completely stay just where you are. 3 seeds on the shelf is just 3 seeds on the shelf. It's not a harvest.
That's right. You got to put them things in the ground. I think one thing people fear is when you plant, and I don't know if you do any gardening. I got a little green. I got a little garden patch in the backyard.
Nothing's alive, but yes.
I've been growing food, especially greens, because I like green smoothies. So I started growing my own green vegetables and stuff like that. But a lot of
Okay.
people don't realize that when a seed goes into the ground, it actually has to rot and die before it begins to grow.
Hmm.
And I think that's what people are afraid of. And that's why they keep the seeds on the shelf, because they don't want to go through that rotting and the dying process. And when that seed dies, the rotted flesh from around the seed actually becomes the food for the new growth.
Mm.
And some of us need to do a little dying, and the old us that's going to get shedded needs to become the food for the new us that's going to emerge out of that. So that, ladies and gentlemen, was the quote of the day right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, the
Good.
Sheila Jean Austin version, brought to you by our good friends Bob Crane over at Bob Crane Tax Planning and Financial Services. Listen, if you don't have a good tax planner in your life, you need one, and not a tax preparer. That's different, right? You need somebody helping you plan your tax strategy all year long. So click the link in the description or comment keyword tax planning. I'll connect you with my guy Bob. He's got some great free resources that you guys can tap into. And then if you need to hire him, all you got to do is book a call. He's very reasonably priced and will help you with all of your tax and financial planning needs. So, Madam Sheila, I ask everybody that comes on the Cortez Hustle Show, who the heck are you?
I am, as you stated, Sheila Jean Austin. I am a little bit about my personal story. So I grew up in East St. Louis, Illinois. Absolutely loved it, despite what many people may have read about it. I had a great time growing up. Went to one of the really good schools there in the area. Shout out to Dunbar University. It's an elementary school, but we called it a university.
Nice.
Had great friends growing up, some of whom I still am in contact with or friends with. I was surrounded by my cousins, my sisters. I remember having a pretty good childhood, a lot of fun. But one thing about that area, or just people in the area in general, the consensus was you get a good education, you get a job, and then you do that for the next 40 years or however long until you retire. Mm-hmm. So it was graduate, go to college, graduate, get a good job. So I was groomed for that, so to speak. But at some point, while I was in college, I just felt like, it wasn't really for me. So I would get a job, and I've had jobs since I was about 15, 16 years old. And either I was so disgruntled until I quit, or they fired me. I quit or they fired me because it was never really my thing. I didn't hear a lot about entrepreneurship growing up. So I was just, going the course or doing what I told I was supposed to do. But it wasn't until I would say undergraduate school where I met my business partner. Mm-hmm. And she has several years of experience in the nonprofit sector. And I, again, was still, even through college, getting a job and quitting it, or being laid off or being fired. And we were always in a space where we were helping other people with their ideas, or, helping them to start businesses. And so I was like, wait, maybe that's actually what I'm supposed to be doing too. So it was kind of born out of, again, my inability to really focus or give that dedication to a career, as opposed to my love for helping others. So I kind of gravitated towards that way. But I've had some amazing careers. I will admit, I worked for several Fortune 500, 200 companies. So it wasn't an issue with getting a good career or obtaining a good job. It wasn't for me. And I believe that we need to be more vocal in explaining to people that there are many different paths to success. And I believe entrepreneurship is absolutely one of them.
Yeah, Listen. I try not to go on my college rants, right? I like you. I went, I didn't finish. And I hate to speak on this because I don't want to sound like the bitter dude who dropped out and never got the degree. But here's my gripe with the educational system. And I'm careful with my words. It's the system that I have the gripe with, not the education, right? I believe that you need to constantly be growing, and there's a higher level of learning and education that is required for success. However, my issue with the education system is how it's branded and marketed, right? And you kind of alluded to this, but tell me if this is correct, the way you heard it. They sell, and emphasis on the word sell, college and university to us as if it is the only way to succeed. And they go a step further, as if it's a guaranteed way to succeed. That is my gripe with college and university.
Yep.
If it's a good fit for you and you can learn and grow and network and get a skill, man, have at it. But don't go into that thing believing that it's the only way and it's a
Yep.
guaranteed way. What are your
Yes.
thoughts on that?
I absolutely agree with that. And holding 2 degrees myself, I still mention to people that education is not a barometer of success. Just because you have degrees does not mean that you're more likely to be successful than anyone else. No matter what, there's still a certain amount of hard work. There's still an amount of dedication, even networking, what have you. There's so many things or so many pieces that factor into success. And they do us a great disservice by marketing education as the way you have to be in, or you have to go through this rite of passage, so to speak, in order to be successful. I am an advocate still of trade schools. I'm an advocate of, if you go to college and all you need is a year of experience for you to network and meet who you need to know and then drop out and go from there, like Jobs or Gates or anybody else, I absolutely rally behind that. I believe you have to present people with all of the facts and all of the options and not just point out one way because you feel like that's what worked for you. College is not for everyone.
Yeah, and I think that's my gripe right there.
Yep.
You put it in the nutshell.
And then you add into the fact that at the age of 17, 18, or however old we are, usually around that age when we graduate high school, you can sign on for a loan for massive debt for college, but the same people will not give you a loan for a house or to start any investment properties. So when you look into it like that, I believe the educational system and the way they structure these loans was put in place in such a way to cause certain people to increasingly be in debt. And I think it was just beneficial to the government as well. They found a way that they can get income coming in for the next centuries or so.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. This is the guaranteed way to keep you employed because you're going to get the student loan debt. And then you're going to listen to another sector of people who says, now that you graduated, you got a job, you got to get the house and the 2-car garage, and you got to get 2 cars to go in the 2-car garage. So now you're laden with more debt. And even though you're not gainfully employed in the area that you went to school for, you're still employed to pay off the debt. So you feel that obligation and that pull. Man,
So in essence, they're teaching us how to be a consumer. Because you're just going to college to get a job to barely pay for the college you went to. So you're constantly paying for something, constantly buying something. You pay for college, then you pay for a house, and you pay for a car. Yep.
Yeah, it is a vicious cycle.
It is.
You got to be careful. And it's tough to go against the grain. You mentioned that entrepreneurship was not presented. But let's talk about your career. And I have to go here because I'm just interested in this myself personally, right? Fortune 500, Fortune 200 companies, global conglomerate companies that you've been involved in and you've done well and you've ascended the corporate ladder. So you very well had the skills and the tenacity and you could have gone that route if you chose to. But talk about your experience as a Black woman in corporate, in roles of leadership, where we know that this is a alpha male dominant structure that doesn't serve well for almost anybody, but those who are very subservient. But I find that my sisters have an increasingly difficult time in that structure. Was that your experience as you move throughout these different companies and these different organizations, these different positions? What was it like? Did you find yourself having to assimilate? Did you find yourself having to be careful with your words? And did you find yourself having to do more work than your
counterparts?
Bosses and counterparts? What was that experience like for you?
So for the most part, well, I wouldn't say the most part. I would say it was probably about 50-50. So on the one hand, I believe I'm able to pretty much work-wise get along with anyone. So as long as I do my job, I feel like everything is fine. But yes, there were some times when I would have to work more. Like you said, we have to do more for do more of the work than some others. And then you have to be very careful of what you say because a lot of things can be taken out of context. And I understand that, especially with me, I'm called very blunt, but I'm just very to the point. So I say something and I'm like, okay, that's it. I don't add anything to it or take anything away from it. And I'm learning that a lot of people need the fluff, for lack of a better term. So of course, in corporate, you have to be mindful of what you say, how you say it, who you say it to, because this person may perceive it differently than the other person. And I believe that it's just, for me, I couldn't envision doing that for the next 30 years. I would have absolutely lost it. Every day you go in, it's a fine line. You're wondering what are we going to do today, or what can I expect today? No, it wasn't for me. Now, I don't see anything wrong with those who find that career and they're passionate about it. They absolutely love it. I support that too. And we do have some trainings where we help in that space, but you have to know what's for you and what you can do and what you can't do. So many of us hang on to these careers because, as we said earlier, it's what we've been it's ingrained in us. It's what we were taught to do. This is what you should do, but it's not for everyone. So corporate America for me, as a Black woman, was, I saw some things and some treatment, of course, that kind of not alarmed me, but I was privy to it. I paid attention to it, how, we're treated a little bit differently than some others. And I will never forget, I was sitting in a meeting, and this lady was just like a top VP engineer. I mean, amazingly intelligent Black woman. And she's running this meeting, and I'm just in awe that there's 1,000 people at this meeting and this lady is in charge. And someone looked over to me as this lady was presenting and telling us what we can expect for the next quarter. She's presenting, and someone leaned over to me and told me, well, I can tell who wears the pins at her marriage. And I said, yeah. I said, so of everything this lady has accomplished, this is what I asked her. I said, of everything this woman has accomplished, everything that she's teaching us, that's what you got from this meeting.
Wow. And
so then that just showed me how we were seen in that space. We were reduced to a marriage, or reduced to, I wonder if she has any children. I couldn't see how she has any. So we're reduced to things like that. And then another time I was holding a meeting, and I was told I didn't need to have the meeting because it was too expensive. They weren't saying the things that I needed to present at the meeting was too expensive. They said that the men who I was bringing to the meeting, they were paid too much. They don't have time for your meeting.
Wow.
Yeah. So there are some things that definitely go on in corporate. And I think a lot of times we're silent about it because we don't want to seem like that angry woman, or like we're complaining. So
yes. And that's it. That right there is why I have this conversation. I interview a lot of Black women, and I ask every single one that come on the show their experience, because so much of us is bottled up because, let's be frank, I need this job, right? So I can't step on anybody's toes, but at the same time, you're dying inside.
Yeah, right? I will be very clear in saying that I am a toe stepper. But you know what? I feel like I have to be that for other people, because not everyone is going to be able to speak up. They don't have the resources to fall on, or the family structure or support to fall on. So I feel like, in a way, I am that Joan of Arc, or what you want to say. So where I'm like, no, you can't say that. It doesn't matter who wears the pants. Like, she's presenting in a meeting now, and she's worked hard to get here. So I've always been very vocal in situations like that.
I love it. And that's why entrepreneurship is so important, because when I got another stream of income that I own and control, then I'm a little bit more liberal in those environments. Like, but when you need it, when this is it, like, you just kind of swallow it and you just take it, man. So I appreciate your honesty and your vulnerability there. That is huge for my own personal research, because I believe if more women hear that story, it's like, oh, it's not just me. Because one of the things that this country is very good at is compartmentalizing. And it's always really good at making you think that you're going through things alone. That's why you can't bring up certain things in corporate. Because when too many people start having these conversations and realizing, oh, that's happening to you, then you got a revolt on your hands. So I want more women to see that, you don't have to take that. You can stand up, and if you're respected for it, they'll keep you on. And if you step on too many toes, they're going to let you go. But the same thing that you're bringing to that job, you can bring to an entity that you own and control. So we do this segment, Sheila, called 1 minute motivation. I'm huge on personal growth and self-development. And I know you're reading Forbes quotes every morning. So you
Yes.
got to be in that same space too.
Yes.
So what I like to do is play a short 1-minute video. And then I'm going to ask you to jot down a takeaway or two, and I'm going to give a takeaway or two. But I think this clip is mostly, if not all, Les Brown. So let's get into 1-minute motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show.
You've been given authority and dominion.
No excuse is acceptable. In order for you to get where you want to go, this is one of the hoops that you have to flip through and embrace whatever comes to you. Don't run from it. Step toward it. Don't try and duck it. Easy is not an option. You can do this. You can make this happen. You can hit a home run. It's a done deal. A setback is a setup for a comeback. When the dream is big enough, the odds don't matter. You beat those odds, you can win anything. You're getting closer. Trust me, you will win if you don't quit. You got to stay focused. Some people rather get even than get ahead. Stay focused on where you want to go. Keep moving. Don't start feeling sorry for yourself. Don't spend time blaming and talking about what happened to you. The harder the battle, the sweeter the victory. Make that happen for yourself.
One day, when you tell your story, how you overcame what you went through, it will become someone else's guide on how they can overcome the same situation. You are an example of what they can do. This is your time. You're still here. Life is on your side. You are strong.
I love that. Why they didn't have me on there?
Listen, I love doing this particular segment because we all just listen to the same clip. But based on what we are in our lives, we all heard something different. So what did you hear?
So one thing that really stood out to me, and I wholeheartedly agree, I heard them say some people rather get even than get ahead. And I say this all the time. And you can tell from their conversations, what they even post on their social media. If you really are about getting ahead, your conversation is different. You sound different. Your actions are different. But so many are stuck in a place of trying to get even. So they want success to show people who said that they would never be anything, that they could be something. Instead of just focusing on that path for themselves, and that holds you back. But man, that video was, I'm sure I'll watch it again. That was so powerful. You cannot stop. You have to keep going, because when you stop, you don't go past where you stop.
That's it. He said easy is not an option.
Oh no.
Yeah, so many people are choosing easy. Yeah. And I heard Denzel say on one of his speeches, ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship. And I'm like, man, you can't choose easy. What else? He said, when the dream is big enough, the odds don't matter. Sometimes we're dreaming too small, so that when an obstacle comes up, that obstacle looks like a mountain. No, my dream is so freaking big, that mountain looks like a pebble. And that's what we got to keep focused on. And the last one, two more, he said, don't spend time blaming. I love Will Smith's video on fault versus responsibility. I don't know if you've ever saw it, but he really just he talks about the fact that everybody likes to say whose fault it is that something got mixed up and messed up. It don't matter if it's your fault when it's my responsibility to fix it. Right. It doesn't matter if it's my responsibility. I'm not gonna waste any time with whose fault it is.
Right.
And then the final thing that I got, he said, your story becomes someone else's guide. Yes. And this is why I do the Cortez Hustle Show every single day, because your story, Sheila, somebody hearing that today on this show is going to become somebody else's guide to say, wait a minute, even though I got these 2 degrees, even though I've helped companies and I've been in charge of $200 million budgets, I could still go off on my own and do my own thing and don't have to worry about what other people have to say about that. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is 1 minute motivation, right? The Sheila Jean Austin version right here on the Cortez Hustle Show from talentbuildingassociates.com. If you have a business, you have a team that you're in charge of, and you need to get some leadership development for your team, you need to get some project management advice, you need to get some talent development, and you want to figure out how to not lose your good talent to other companies, then you need to be talking to Sheila Jean and the Talent Building Associates team. So, sis, we talked a little bit about your background. We talked a little about where you came from. And this is another question that I'm always interested to know from entrepreneurs. The actual transition from corporate to your own business, right? What was that process?
I just
like?
Quit.
I was going to say, because I went in on Monday at 9 a.m. By 9:30, I was back in my car on my way home. So I just quit.
I quit. So I started off, I told my boss that I wanted to, I gave her a month's notice at first. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, I kind of want to go on vacation. So let's change that to 2 weeks. So yeah, I just quit. But, you know, I had done the two for a while. So I don't want anyone to think that as soon as we started our business, my partner and I, that I just up and quit. That's not the case. So we had been in business for about 2 years before I actually quit.
Yeah.
And I just realized in that moment that it was not going to get any better. Mm-hmm. And I just couldn't, like I said, I couldn't see myself doing that for the next 20 years. And what's interesting is after I quit, several other people left the team as well. And even our manager was sent somewhere remote off by herself, because one of the things is we have been complaining about this manager for a very long time. Mm-hmm. And I think that once they saw that I actually quit and then other people start moving around, then they start investigating. And that's one of those things, that's something that Talent Building Associates helps with, retaining your talent. And then not even that, just making sure that you have the right people in place in the right positions. We make sure that you don't have any leaks anywhere. Like my manager or my boss at the company I left was a leak. She was an issue. She was a problem. So she was costing them more money long term by them keeping her, because they have to pay her this elaborate salary, but then you're also losing talent.
Yeah.
And by the time they figured it out, it was too late. So yeah, we worked for, of course I had other companies I worked for, but we were in business for about a couple of years before I quit and just really tried to focus in on this full time.
Gotcha. And I think you kind of alluded to this in the beginning of your story, but you guys, even in college, and your partner's name again?
Her name is Terry. Yep.
Okay. All right. And you guys had already been helping other entities and people, like they coming to you with ideas. I think I want to start this. Well, you certainly should start this, and here's how you should start it.
Exactly. Right? So you have that's our voice. Yes.
Good. I love it because sometimes, like the second book I wrote is called Monetize My Life. Mm-hmm. 4 Incredibly Simple Ways to Turn Your Passions into Profit. Sometimes we don't see in ourselves what other people see, and that's one of the things that I say is, what are other people coming to you for repeatedly? That's an indication of what you should be monetizing.
Absolutely.
So how long did it take for y'all to figure out that, oh, you and me together, sis, when people come to us with these things, we knock it out of the park. This is what we should be doing.
Well, it didn't take us long, pretty much 30 years, our whole life. And then what I really love about my partner, Terry, she is such an excellent, she's really good at organization, like being able to see a thing inside out.
Yeah.
So it can be within a matter of minutes. We're sitting with these business leaders, and 10 minutes into the conversation, she's already broken down and reassembled their business.
Wow. And
so then where I come in is I reverse engineer. So I see the end result and then I walk you backwards to the beginning.
Gotcha.
So it's so wonderful for us to see us like in action together. It's a great thing.
Nice. I love it. So you guys have started the business for a couple of years. And was Terry also employed other entities?
Yes.
So you guys both working for someone else,
mm-hmm.
but at the same time, you kind of nurturing this baby, right? And that was one of the reasons that I left my job is, hey, I'm a man of integrity. I was literally doing more of my own work on company time. Mm. And while some people feel comfortable milking that situation, like, hey, it is what it is, I had a tremendous amount of latitude and freedom on my job. And I could have literally built an empire on their time, but it didn't sit well with me. So I left.
Same.
Right.
Yeah.
But you guys are nurturing this baby, but you're still kind of on full-time employment with somebody else. When you finally jumped and went full-time, was it smooth sailing, or did you guys have to make some adjustments into now that you guys both are there 24/7? How was that adjustment when you guys went finally?
So I believe that you're always going to be making adjustments for the life of your business, for your entire life. Even these large corporations, they're repeatedly making adjustments. They're always hiring new marketing teams. So you'll be making adjustments forever. And no, I will not say it was smooth sailing. I see so many entrepreneurs that like, I started and now my business is I have $1 million valuation, and you give people this false sense of hope to where they think that this just happened overnight. No, we're still growing. We're still pivoting. We are still figuring out not only what's best for us, but what's best for our clients. But I wouldn't trade it for anything still. So even the learning opportunities are great. It's different when it's your own.
I love it. Talk about that, because I liken the entrepreneurial journey to an adventure, right? And when you get locked into corporate, there is no more adventure, right? Literally, people take the exact same route to work every day for 20 or 30 years. There's no variation. That's how locked in we are. It's like I knew that I had 23 minutes to get to work. So I knew exactly what time to hit the snooze button, how many times. Took me 8 minutes to get ready for work. I didn't have a lunch to grab. So you literally fall into that rut, and when there's no variation, there's no adventure, then life becomes very stale for you. But talk about the adventure of being an entrepreneur, because for me, I've never felt more alive.
I absolutely love it. And like I said, even with the learning opportunities, because we don't call them losses or any of that. If anything, you learn something from it. You learn what to change the next time or what not to change. But it's an absolute adventure. I was the same. I drove the same way to work every day. It was a 37-minute drive. It would be to the point to where, were you ever driving and then you get to work and you're like, wait, I don't remember any of the trip. How did I get here? Because you just don't, you're on autopilot. Being an entrepreneur is completely different. Some days will be the same when you're doing your record keeping or, checking your emails or what have you, but it's always an adventure. It's always something different. Not every day is just playing copy paste of the same thing. You're not going to walk into the cafeteria like I did at work and know what they're having because it's Monday. So I believe it's great. And I think that for creatives, being in a space where we're doing the same thing every day absolutely kills us.
Yes.
So a lot of people don't have an issue with their jobs. Like some people may say, oh, they're just lazy. That person is bouncing from this place to that place. They can keep a job. They're probably a creative. And being in that same routine every day will never work for them. And my cousin told me that. I have a cousin who I knew, one entrepreneur growing up. She owned her own salon. She had some real estate investments. And at about 18 years old, I remember her telling me, because between 16 and 18, I worked fast food and I would quit a job and, go get another job. And she told me then, she's like, yeah, you're never going to be able to keep a job. She's like, yeah, I was like that. And it didn't resonate with me until I was my age now, looking back on like, oh, okay, that's what she meant.
Right. Yeah. That is hard for a lot of people to fathom. And that creative space and energy, you got to constantly be building and creating and being able to be rewarded from those things that you are building and creating, and corporate just does not allow that. For me, as a creative, I had to tie my job to my duty in my spiritual walk, right? As a Christian man, my duty is to provide for and protect my family. So I tied my job to that, and that allowed me to walk into that place with a smile on my face every day, because I'm performing my duty. I get a paycheck that allows me to now be able to take care of my family. Otherwise, I'd have driven myself crazy long.
Right. It absolutely was the Lord that allowed me to still do that.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. So let's talk a little bit about some of the things, because I'm a solopreneur now and
Okay.
starting to grow into looking to develop a team and that kind of thing for this next phase of my business. What are some of the things that you and your partner can do for solopreneurs? Because I believe a lot of our audience are solopreneurs, right? They
Mhm.
may have one or two man team, and maybe it's a husband and a wife team. I see my man Alton on, and I know him and his wife are building an empire. So, what are some of the things that you would say are absolutely necessary as we're laying foundations to build a strong team to grow an empire?
I believe it's very important to always hear each other out.
Mhm.
So it's you have to create a space where everyone feels valued and they feel like their input matters. They can bring ideas, because what happens is if you have a space where someone may feel like they can't bring an idea, then they eventually shut down and feel
Mm.
less valued as a part of the team. So you always want to make sure that you're centered on valuing your team members, and then that will help you as you begin to grow. As you said, your friend here who was on, they're building an empire. I think that's absolutely great. I love to see husband and wife empires. But as you add to that empire, so you add on staff, it'll be easy for you to flow that out to your staff, where their input is always valued. Open door policy, they can come to you with anything. And then also, I would say make sure you are strong in who you are as a company, what your
Mhm.
objectives are, what you will do, and what you won't do. Because what happens is over time, you will have people who you may hire on, such as marketers or whoever it may be, even your employees, they'll try to change your vision.
Mm. Mm.
So make sure you're strong in who you are. It is your vision that they work for. You don't work for them, they work for you. It is your vision that matters. So be very clear in who you are as a company, what your vision is, what your objectives are, what you're willing to do, and what you're not willing to do.
I love it. I love it. That's one of the things that I am constantly harping on, because sometimes it's kind of hard to define who you are.
Mhm.
And I heard, I think it was Jim Rohn say, if you're struggling to define who you are, it's sometimes easier to define who you're not.
Mhm.
And by
That's
default,
good.
you can get to who you are, right?
Mhm.
I'm not a thief. Okay, well, if
Right.
I'm not a thief, that might mean I'm a person of integrity,
Mhm.
right? I'm not a liar. That okay, if I'm
That's
not a
not true.
liar, then that means I'm truthful. So if you
Mhm.
can get to who you're not, that can also help define who
Yeah,
you
that's
are
good.
as well. So thank you so much for that. So in crafting and developing the vision, I got a question for you about
Mhm.
this space that we're in right now, where companies can't hire people. Like people ain't going for these jobs because they're making
Mhm.
more money in unemployment and stuff. Like, what do we
Mhm.
do to get people back to work? I mean, I know lots of companies like, man, our hours have changed because we can't get people to come in and work, right?
Mm.
What are we to do?
I know I saw a restaurant completely shut down because they couldn't find anyone. Um, Speaking from the entrepreneur side, I would say it's a great time for people to start their own businesses. Like I believe it's an absolute perfect time for people to start their own businesses. They have the time and the resources,
Mhm.
as far as unemployment is concerned, who's paying them. So they have the time and the resources to put their all into it. But as far as companies are concerned, I think a lot of these companies are going to have to remarket.
Mhm.
This is a problem that's been going on years ago. So the pandemic
Mhm.
just exposed some of the problems. There is no way that if everyone was so happy at their jobs, they would be leaving and not going back because of the pandemic. Some
Yeah.
things we do, not for the money, but because we enjoy it, we're passionate about it. And I believe
Mhm.
that would have been the case if these companies had valued their employees the way that they should have before the pandemic. Now, granted, some people are just not interested in working, and I get that. But I believe as a
Mhm.
whole, people are seeing that corporate America or these careers are not the only way to go.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
what can be
I
done
think.
about it? Again, just remarketing, incentives. You know, we love incentives, bonuses,
Mhm.
things of that
Yeah.
nature. Um, they need to do some morality checks to make sure that all their people are happy. There's a
Mhm.
lot they can do. They can actually just, if they want to, they can just call us and we'll fix it for them.
Yes,
Long
call
story
Talent
short,
Building Associates,
we'll fix it for
and
them.
they will
We'll get
get
them in
you
there.
right. They'll help you right this ship. I think a lot of times it is like I saw companies get exposed
Mhm.
for who they are
Yeah.
And not every company, like some companies expose a great side of themselves, like, no, this is how we're going to treat our people through this. And some companies got exposed into how reckless they are, how little they care about the well-being of their employees, talking about, yes, a global pandemic, but bring your butt to work, right? I have family members right now dealing with situations where they're required to come in the office, even though somebody in the office is COVID positive. I'm like, how do you do that when we know that you guys were able to maintain and run this operation when everybody worked from home?
Right.
Now somebody's in the office, COVID positive. You don't know how to trace all the things that they touched and all that kind of stuff, but you're going to tell me I got to come in now because y'all just decided to change it. Everybody needs to come back in the office. Well, you're putting me at risk if I come into this office where you know somebody was just here this week who have now COVID positive, right?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of companies are showing their true colors in that regard by not being flexible with their employees. And speaking of being flexible, let's talk about culture and the importance thereof, because that's one of the things that I'm excited about is how to develop the right culture that makes people want to stick around. My background is in network marketing, and I remember I was part of Amway for like 2 or 3 years, Sheila. I wasn't making no money, but I went to the meetings and the conferences. Every week, every quarter, I'm in Greensboro, North Carolina somewhere because they created a culture.
Oh, the networking.
That made you want to be a part of that. So what the importance of culture and how do you develop that?
Culture is very important. And I can't say I don't think it's difficult to develop. As far as any of the corporate teams that I've been a part of, I've in some way always been involved in their diversity and inclusion sectors or their community engagement sectors because I really enjoy that type of work and being on the forefront of that. If I'm anywhere, I want to be there. I believe the easiest way to develop culture is to try your best to dismantle any preconceived notions that you may have about a particular group or a particular people. We have to go in, and it can be hard to do because we all have our own bias, unconscious bias. We all have it, no matter who we are. But I believe
you've been telling us for years who all these groups are and how they're going to behave when you're in their presence. So that's what we expect.
Exactly. Right. So just go into a space with as free as you can, as open as you can to receive what it is you're presented with. But it's very important. I believe that culture ultimately drives a company. If you think about it, so many places, if you name a place, like if you name, I don't know, Google.
Yeah.
You always, when you think about Google, if you think about Google and work, you hear about open culture, bring your dog to work. Like, so you think of all these things that are synonymous with their culture. And that's just how important it is. Companies are being defined by their culture. Some are being defined in a not so good way. So that's one of those foundational pieces too. You want to make sure you have the right culture for your team and do the work, invest there. That's a big investment piece. If you want to save some money, do it somewhere else.
Right. Not when it comes to building culture. And I think so, getting to know your people and your what makes them tick, I think is critically important, man. But that isn't, I never heard anybody say invest in that piece, right? But we bring, and I think sometimes we have diversity misdefined as that's only a black and a white thing, or that's only an ethnic background thing. No,
it's right.
Diversity, is everything, right? Like you got to be open to everything. I can have an all black staff, but there's diversity in that staff because we all come from different backgrounds, got different beliefs, socioeconomic statuses are all different, and raised different, and I think diversity is misdefined as, oh well, I don't have to worry about diversity training because my staff is all black. And it's like, no, you had a black staff that is very diverse. And the only reason you don't know that is because you haven't invested the time to ask.
And or to even know what diversity means. Like you said, so many of us just think it's about race, but it's not. It's about upbringing, like we said, your sex, religion, educational levels. There are so many factors of diversity that many people overlook, and that's a part of the culture and all that fit that one should be investing in.
Gotcha. All right. Well, Sheila, we have come to a place in the show where we do a segment called freestyle. Because I know you got bars, sis.
No,
you drop some bars. Yes, you
not.
got bars. It's about to go down. So freestyle is a part of the show as I'm building this media empire that will one day surpass Ted Turner and Walt Disney. I don't always ask the right questions, right? So the conversation doesn't always evolve to where we want it to. So freestyle, even though I'm not going to play a beat, it's just you speaking freely, freestyle, on either something that you want to reiterate that we covered or something that we have not covered yet, but you think it's important for us to know. So take 2 minutes and hit them with your best freestyle right here on the Cortez Hustle Show. The Sheila Jean Austin.
So I'm not rapping.
No, you can make the words rhyme if you want
to. No. Well, let me just thank you for this space and this opportunity. I'm having an incredible time here, and I touch and agree with you that you will surpass Ted Turner. I think that's amazing. I see that for you. What I want to reiterate here is there are many paths to success. And success is a journey. It's not a destination. Because when you get to success or whatever you were building towards, then you'll see that you still have room to improve upon where you just were driving to go. So it's a journey. Don't ever look at it as an end all be all that will drive you crazy. So stick with the journey of success, whatever that looks like to you. If that is you keeping your career that you absolutely love, that's great too. We can help you with that as well. But if it is, if you feel confined, like you want to do something different, you've always dreamed of having your own space, your own business, then know that there are so many resources available for you for that space. There are so many people here who will help you, Talent Building Associates or TBA, and I'm sure Cortez as well. You have so many available resources to you. We've done the work. We've taken the opportunities to grow, so you don't necessarily have to. I believe now is so different than say 50 years ago, where our parents were just going to school to get, they got an education, went to these careers. You have almost endless resources. So always bet on yourself. Even if you stumble, keep betting on yourself, keep going. Eventually, consistency and hard work has to pay off.
Love it.
And I'm always going to cheer on entrepreneurship. I'll support you in your career, but secretly, I almost feel like everyone has that one business idea in them that would be absolutely amazing, and the world needs it.
Yeah. I am like my man Marquell Russell says. He says, I am an entrepreneur supremacist. Right? I believe that entrepreneurs are the world changers, right? So I'm always going to lean to starting your own thing. Everybody needs an income that they own and control, right? That's what I love about entrepreneurship. If I'm not making enough money, it's because I'm not doing enough.
And I believe that the pandemic absolutely showed us that. Look how many people lost, careers that they had for 20 years. So yes, you need that.
Yeah.
And I believe it also helps with self-esteem. It helps your community. It's just in these companies we work for, they were somebody's dream 100 years ago. Yep. So you work for, in essence, an entrepreneur.
Yeah. That's another gripe I have with the school system. Like you said, you had one entrepreneur in your family. You didn't know about entrepreneurship until you got through college, where you started helping other entrepreneurs. Right. But that's one of the things, is that they don't teach entrepreneurship in school, but they teach you how to ask an entrepreneur for a job. Here's how you fill out an application. Here's how you do your resume. Here's how you conduct yourself on an interview. Who am I interviewing for? An entrepreneur. Right? So that's the thing. This has been fun for me, Sheila. Thank you so much for giving up your time so freely and being so vulnerable with your story and letting your hair down, so to speak, even though you got your crown looking so elegant, man. I love that. I love that. But tell everybody how they can connect with TBA and what's the best way for them to get a
Yeah.
hold of you guys if they need some of the resources or some of the help that you guys offer.
Absolutely. So y'all can visit us at talentbuildingassociates.com. And on our website, there's an option to book your strategy session. We do have a deposit to book the strategy session. However, when you sign up for services, that deposit is deducted from your services. And we do that as a way to make sure you are serious about your journey, because we are serious about you. We're going to bet on you, and we want you in the boat with us. So book your strategy session today. We are excited to work with you. And then if you have any other questions before you book your session, you can email us at info@talentbuildingassociates.com. Again, that's info@talentbuildingassociates.com. We're on Facebook and Instagram under the same name, Talent Building Associates.
Love it, love it, love it. Well, you guys heard it here first, man. You need the resources to build your career. She's going to help you, but secretly be cheering for you to go into entrepreneurship.
Absolutely.
But if you are an entrepreneur, any size business, I saw that on your guys' website, any size business. So if you're a solopreneur like me, you are Fortune 100, Fortune 500, Fortune 5,000, doesn't matter. Talent Building Associates can help you. So all of the details and information are in the show notes, so you guys can connect with Sheila and her amazing team there. Any final words before we go?
Do the work.
Ooh, uh-oh.
That's it.
Now, you said that you was a toe stepper, right?
Nothing more, nothing less. Do the work. Get it done.
You got to do the work. So many people are running from the work. You got to do the work. So last shout out to our sponsor, Bob Crane Financial and Tax Planning Services. Ladies and gentlemen, if you need help in the area of tax planning and financial services, click on the link in the show notes in the description for Bob's free tools and resources. He's got financial calculators out there. He's got everything that you need to start going down the path of building better financing, lowering your taxes, which is your largest expense, and learning how to do it legally, ethically, and morally, especially if you're an entrepreneur. There are tons of tax advantages of being an entrepreneur, and Bob will help you navigate through that. And once you save money on taxes, he'll help you invest that money to start building generational wealth. So we appreciate you so much, Sheila, for stopping by. That's it for us, ladies and gentlemen. Until we talk to you next time, I want you to get your money up, because you absolutely can do it. But more importantly, you deserve to do it, each and every single one of you. So hustle up. But you've got to overcome fear if you're going to win.
You're tuned into the Cortez Hustle Show. Please like and subscribe.